Welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now let's hear from our special guest host, Sarah Seifert.
Good morning, Alliance family. It's beautiful to see all your lovely faces. Well, I'm looking at my friends, but all y'all too. I'm just imagining y'all out there in the crowd, just smiling with a good cup of coffee. But good morning, Alliance family. I couldn't be more honored this morning just hosting this call. I have deep gratitude to Andy and Jane just for courageously stepping out first and just blazing the trail, just reminding us all, right? This weekend was a reminder for us all that success is waiting for anyone that is willing to just get after it. So thank you so very much for allowing me to host this call this morning. But for those of y'all that don't know, my name is Sarah Seifert. I am born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was introduced into this business by two of my best friends, Jake and VeRae Joseph. I am endlessly grateful for them, for not only believing in me, but for pouring into me with love, encouragement, and just pushing me out of my comfort zone. They've been nothing but a river in my business. They've given me space to grow. They've given me space to be able to cultivate different relationships in this business. And they've been able to just show me, hey, listen, this is the leadership role you're developing into. I've stepped into a leadership role and I never thought that was possible. Their influence has definitely changed my life, and I carry an immense sense of gratitude for that. But as I kind of open up, obviously, you saw the title, right? We're talking about these last couple days. Me and a group of warriors, man. We all got handpicked to attend the Albright Leadership Cabin. And as we just kind of open up and start talking about these last couple days, I just want to talk to some of y'all that, maybe wondering, how do I get a seat at the table? How do I get an invite, right? I remember, a couple days before, going into it, because of course you're promoting it. You're just fired up out of your mind that you got handpicked to go, right? I remember my phone just blowing up, like, how do I go? Where's my invite? How do I get there? Where are you going? Right? I just want to talk to some of those who may be just wondering, how do we get there? So the funny thing about it is, I've been taught since day one to be ready, willing, and able. So what does that mean, right? So when opportunity comes a knocking, because it will, right? Be willing to do whatever it takes in my control to make it happen, and just go to grow. So being ready, willing, and able. That's my piece of advice for y'all that are just listening or like, how do I get there, right? What are these girls going to be talking about? But y'all, myself and a village of thriving, sharp women, we gathered these last 3 days in fellowship. We gathered at the Albright Leadership Cabin. And before I dive in, I really want to take you through the eyes of Sarah Seifert for a second. We're driving through, this winding road in the middle of nowhere in North Kakalaki. And as the trees open, there's this most beautiful cabin I've ever seen. The sun is just shining through the cutting foliage. The air feels crisp. As we're going up this long driveway, you look to the left and you see this big A, like in a lake. And you're like, wow, so that's a symbol of what Andy and Jane have created. It's not just an A, it's a symbol. It's a symbol of what we're about to embark on, right? I'm going up the driveway and I'm like, okay, just kind of shaking my head, like, okay, just soaking it all up, right? I step out of the car, right? We all step out of the car and I don't really know what to expect, right? But the moment I stepped out of the car and walked into the cabin, you smell it. You just smell it, right? It's like a warm, inviting scent that makes you instantly feel warm. And once again, I couldn't help but think, I don't know what we're doing here, but I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people. Right? The door opens and I'm just like getting goosebumps just even talking about it. The door opens and you're instantly within 5 seconds greeted with love. Smiling faces, hugs. What do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? Make yourself at home. Blankets everywhere, right? It's like an oasis, right? It's the feeling. It's the feeling of genuine love, right? For a minute, I just wanted to like pinch myself, right? And say, wow, like this is it, right? I knew at that moment this was going to be more than just like a training event, right? This was going to be an experience, right? So we're talking about takeaways as we're diving in, right? So atmosphere matters, okay? Andy and Jane are part of the magic. It's about the cabin, of course. It's beautiful, right? It's about the magic created within the atmosphere. Y'all, meetings, they're no different. Hotspots, they're no different, right? Andy's showing us something bigger. Yes, we're taking and we're put in this oasis, we're put in this leadership cabin, right? Hotspots, trainings, conferences, they're no different. Energy is contagious, right? In 5 years, I may or may not remember what was said these last 3 days, but I'll bet your last buck I'll remember how I felt, right? Are we creating that same feeling for new people that we're bringing into this business, right? Are we greeting people with smiles when they come to their first conference? How are we making other people feel, right? You guys heard it. Within 5 seconds, I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people. That was the first 5 seconds. People make a decision within those first handful of seconds, right? And the crazy thing is we are a part of the magic. Isn't that cool, right? The lights, the music, the laughter, all of it created an atmosphere for all of us ladies, right? To just be able to connect and not have to worry, right? I couldn't help but think, right? Like, I'm not going to take this as experience lightly. I was handpicked to be here, right? In my head, I'm like, I'm going to absorb every single bit of what's going on today, every single bit of what's going on late at night, right? But these last couple of days, right? Little things, right? The snacks, the beverages, right? The feel-good music. I kept looking at, I couldn't help but like look at those A-frame windows, right? And like all these soaring, hawks, right? Just in that blue sky, right? You're getting trained by someone who it's like a 10,000, I don't even know. I can't put a price tag on it, but Andy's training, it's $10,000 an hour work, right? So it's like you're being trained by the CEO. You have these A-frame windows and there's just these like hawks just soaring through that blue sky. And like everything was just clicking, right? My synapses were just like, okay, like I just can't help but like I was like nodding my head the whole time. But for myself, I know we're going to get into it, but just for myself, Sarah Seifert, one of my biggest takeaways this weekend is being very intentional and direct with my team on where we are at and where we are going. I like, for those that are on my team and those that I talk a lot about, like, what we're doing is like, I think of my business as a ministry. As long as I put God first and I work like there's no tomorrow and I love my people, the fruits of my labor are going to blossom in his timing, right? But our last day, I just kind of want to like share one experience before I open up to some of these girls. Our last day, Andy and Jane, of course, right? The magic behind it all. Our last day, we had a surprise. And I mean, I don't know how much I can talk about, but I'm going to share a couple of things. We got invited to this exclusive, like, exotic animal conservatory. It's like the #1 animal conservatory in the US. And of course, I looked into their mission, right? And their mission was, word for word, in the end, we will conserve only what we love. We will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught. I was like, oh man, everything, right? It's like everything we did these last 3 days. I didn't know why we were going to the animal conservatory. Everything just connected, right? And then you see Jeff Bright, right? Jeff Bright, just seeing him in his element, right? His eyes were so lit up. You could just feel the love throughout his body. The animals loved Jeff, you guys. They love Jeff. Why do you think they love Jeff? Put it in the chat. Why do you think the animals love Jeff? He was nice, right? He had good energy, right? He tried his hardest to understand each and every one of those animals' personalities, right? I remember Jeff pulling me aside for a second. He's like, that one really didn't like me. But then I figured out that if I bring banana pills, he would light up when I walked by. He's like, but I'm gonna be clear, he doesn't really like me, but if I bring these banana pills, right? But one thing I asked Jeff, I said, how often do you come here? Because his name's all over the place, right? Jeff and Nancy Bright. I'm like, how often are you coming here, Jeff? And he's like, every Sunday. The animals loved Jeff because he was kind, he had good energy, he slowed down to understand them, and he kept showing up. Okay, what are you talking about, Seifert? What are you talking about? He kept showing up. What is Andy trying to show us, right? Building a business, right? Are we loving on our people? Are we caring about our people? Are we slowing down to try to connect and understand and listen? Listen to our people. And listen without trying. Listen without already have the answer before they're done speaking, right? Everything that was done these last 3 days was intentional. So we can learn in a different setting, right? Why was Jeff part of their mission? Because he cared. He loved. Y'all, building a business, recruiting, it's no different. People work with who they like, bottom line, no ifs, ands, buts about it. And it takes no money to be nice to people. It takes no money to be kind to people. You can catch way more bees with honey. Keep showing up for your people. But Sarah, how long do I show up? Right? How long do I keep showing up? I don't know. How big do you want your business? Ask yourself that, right? But as I get into this, first and foremost, this first person that I just kind of want to chop it up with a little bit is, I want to bring up one of my dear friends. She's an athlete by trade. She's a fierce soul. She delivers when she knows the task at hand. She's a woman who, she's been searching for her tribe. She's been searching for a place to plant her flag. I know that we had a breakthrough as a team when we stayed up till 3 a.m. drawing bubbles, dream planning, and then spending the entire flight home planning on executing and building this business massive with an action plan to back it up. So Danielle Ross, why don't you just kind of high level tell the people who you are and just a little bit about yourself?
Hi guys. For those who don't know me, my name is Dani Ross. I'm born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, direct to Miss Sarah Seifert in the greater Leventovich organization. I'm super grateful. I'm very grateful for the experience. I know Sarah's going to light us up and prompt us with some questions, but I thank you for those of you who allowed me to be there. It was life-changing. We had a lot of breakthroughs. We built a lot of relationships with people that we wouldn't have otherwise. And we were put in a position that allowed us to dream. They're allowing us to dream and dream big. And they're not putting parameters on our dreams. And I can't even put words on what I feel or how I feel, but I know that being there and striving to get there and making yourself ready, willing, and able will change your life, and it will change the trajectory of your business, because I know firsthand it's going to for mine and ours. So,
Dani, yeah, 100%. We can talk about call to action later, because that's kind of what I want to like wrap it up with, right? Because it's like, okay, like ready, fire, aim, ready, fire, aim. Like we were all fired up out of our mind, right? And it's like, okay, like game planning in the airplane. What are we going to do? Like, what are we doing here, right? What do you feel like, I mean, obviously, right? Like I couldn't help myself, like pinch myself thinking like I'm here and how cool, like I have some of my team here, right? Fired up out of my mind, right? Like not only am I absorbing this, but like my team is tracking. I always can tell, I mean, we're all in unity, right? Look at us now, we're all like this at the same time, right? We're all in unity because of what we were taught, right? But it's like, Dani, if you can just kind of share with everyone, what was like maybe like an aha moment, like where, like just sitting in the cabin, like what were you sipping at that time? Like some water or coffee, or what were you sipping? What food were you munching on in the presence of? Like just like a simple, quick aha moment for yourself.
this is so, there were a couple of us standing around late at night. All of us, everybody had went to bed already. There were a select few. We were playing, it seems so simple, and it seems, before you get it, why are we doing this, right? Why are we playing these games at the cabin? But I remember Noelle and Beth and Emily and Maddie and a select few others. We were standing around the table, late night conversation, standing around the island in the kitchen. And we were playing Green Power. And once you get this game, it infuriates you, because the answer is so simple, but it eats you alive. Before you get it, it eats you alive. You're sitting there thinking and trying to watch people and watch their mannerisms and watch what they're saying and how are they moving their hands and their face. And then you learn the rule and you're like, why couldn't I, shake me, like punch me in the face. I had an aha moment in that moment when I was like, holy, all we have to do is copy. All we have to do is figure out what to copy, and then teach others to What? That's not real. Are you kidding me? Like, it can't be that simple. It can't be that simple. So my aha moment was, oh, I have to copy, and that's it. So after that, I'm watching people. I'm watching Andy Albright like a hawk. I'm watching the leaders in the room like a hawk. What are they doing? How are they talking to people? What are their little slogans and sayings? And like, we copy and teach someone else to copy. It cannot be that simple, but it is. Are you kidding me? I was the best cheater in school. I was like, I can do this. If that's all, I can do this. If that's all it takes, watch out, because I wouldn't even pick the best person to copy. I'd pick like a semi-all-right person, so it wasn't like too far-fetched or I didn't get caught, you know. But in this business, we get to copy the Andy Albright. Are you kidding me? We get to copy all of these amazing mentors. Guys, wake up, find the pattern, and let's cut. I didn't have to form a thought to copy. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to think. I just have to find the pattern. Are you shitting me? I mean, sorry, but.
Right. And it's crazy, like, you know, Andy, like, he makes it so simple with these games, right? And a lot of people, like, you know, why is she making me play these games? They're just mad, right? Internally mad, right? And he's making it so simple, right? And it's like we overthink this business It's so simple. We make it complicated. We make it complicated and messy. It doesn't have to be. It's so freaking simple, right? Follow the system, follow the 8 steps, follow what your leaders are doing. How about follow those that are already doing it? Right? What's the one thing we know about a turtle on a fence post, Dani?
Yeah, you didn't get there by itself.
Right. So it's like, why wouldn't we selfishly follow those that are already doing it? Right? Why am I not going to listen to VeRae and Jake? They're already doing it. And they got coaching from others that were already doing it. Right?
As I'm looking around the room, nobody's superhuman. Everybody's just following a pattern. And as I keep looking, everyone, not ordinary, but everybody has the same, everybody's had family, this, that, and the third, right? Like we all have the same 24 hours a day by ourselves. But some people, the magic in this whole thing, if you will, all great entrepreneurs and all magicians have help, right? So the people that are wonderful at this are finding ways to have 48 hours in a day, 72 hours in a day. Nobody gets there by themselves. We're not by ourselves. It takes a team. It takes a village.
That's right.
And that's what I took away.
That's right. And just kind of wrapping it up with like the games. Like if there's one thing I know about Dani this weekend, right? She was so, and this is where like the athlete, right? You know, both of my parents were athletes. I'm an athlete myself. You know, other athletes understand each other, right? This is where Dani, she's just leaned in. She's leaned in. Everyone's chirping, chatting, you know, all the other things in the background, right? Laughing, trying to throw people off. And Dani's like this, observing. Right? She's just observing. How are they moving? What are they saying? Are they getting up? Are they moving their fingers this way? Right? Just looking. Like someone on a hunt, just looking, right? And you know, some of these you get right away and you're just like, yes, right? And sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but what I know about you, Dani, is you're a student. You're studying, right? You're trying to figure out what the game plan is so we can attack. So I'm so proud of you, Dani. We're gonna come back around as we like close out, just like some call to action stuff. We'll kind of go back to that at the end, but I have no doubt that you're going to continue to shine, Dani. I look forward to thriving together. I look forward to doing life together and traveling the world with one another. So, but this next firecracker that I would like to introduce, she's been nothing but coach. Like you hear coachable, like it's this girl. She's been nothing but coachable since the moment that Dani Ross opened the door. Right? When you give Maddie a mission, she goes on a hunt and she cleans up the mess after. Maddie has never been afraid to invest in her business. She's been with us here at the Alliance for, a couple months. I'm just going to call it a couple months, right? A handful of months. And not only has she jumped into the sales side of the business, but she's like, hey, I'm going to do estate planning. And hey, I'm going to open my own office. And hey, my mentors told me to delegate. I'm not only going to hire one assistant, I'm going to hire 2. Right? She has a team, and she has a team that she loves. Right? There's no doubt in my mind that Maddie's going to be one of our lifelong friends. All of us, right? We are going to be best friends in this business. So again, you haven't, obviously I really want you, Maddie, to just like high level talk to the team about, who you are, a little bit about your background. People see this put together, girl. I mean, that was my first impression, but just like being able to get vulnerable with you these last couple months, tell the world who you are, Maddie.
Hey guys, my name's Maddie. I'm over here in Tampa, Florida. I graduated from the University of Florida. Been in Florida pretty much my whole life, but I originally came from California. So definitely two different, completely crazy different cultures. Dynamics are different. My parents came over here for opportunity. So it's kind of cool to see that the opportunity has paid off. I got introduced in this business because I knew a really good friend, Dani Ross, and I was already in this business a little bit. And she kind of was telling me, hey, it's not as bad as you think it is. I was like, no, it's bad. I don't like it. It's not good. And she was like, trust me, come and meet some of the people here at the Alliance. And I was very skeptical. So I think get out of your own way. Don't be skeptical. Make the mess. You don't have to clean it up alone. I think that's the biggest thing that allows me to continue to make a mess is because I have incredible people to help me clean it up. Dani helps me clean it up. Sarah helps me clean it up. Jake and VeRae, they're all there. Every single person in the Leventovich organization and every single person in the Alliance has opened their arms to me. So why would I not just make a massive mess? What's the worst that can happen? And that's how I felt when I first started investing in my business. What is the worst that can happen? I invest in my office and I don't show up. That's on me. That's on nobody else besides me. I start doing estate planning and I don't do good at the presentation because I didn't take the time to prepare. That's on me. It's 100% ownership. It's not these steps that get you there. It's you taking ownership and utilizing the tools that you have placed in front of yourself. But yeah, there's so many great lessons that I've learned this weekend. We got to fish at the lake, and that was really cool. I like fishing. I usually inshore fish here in Florida, so I've never freshwater fished before. And usually when you inshore fish, you can use like a little fake bait or you can use shrimp. And I don't like touching the shrimp because they have like little pokers and stuff. It's scary, so I don't bait the hook. And I told Andy that, and he took the time to grab an earthworm out of the dirt and put it on my hook for me. And it doesn't seem that crazy or symbolic or anything like that until you realize that's what he does to each of us in this business. He does not need to work in this business with us, but he still shows up every single day to provide support, to provide guidance, to bait our hook. So it's like, it's just on you. But yeah, Sarah, sorry.
No, yeah, you're 100% right. It's like, really? Like, he doesn't have to be here, right? But he shows up, right? And you can see it when Andy talks, like, he's down to business, right? He's logic, training, right? He's on a mission, right? I love, when, his childhood friend came and trained, like, what a blessing. He showed up like that and was like, letting us in on a little bit of like that Myers. Andy cares about his people, right? There's that very logical side of like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're game planning, right? But you can also see like, when he gets, and I'm just going to say it, sorry, we're women, right? Maybe we rubbed off a little this weekend, but when he gets emotional about his people and about his vision and about his mission, right? That allows us to connect. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But Maddie, like, talk to the team because you're doing a really good job right now inviting and not getting weary and well doing, right? You talk about fishing and right, just like not making the, like that interaction with Andy with the bait, right? Talk about like, if we're not fishing, right? Why don't you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, realistically, to catch a fish, you have to have bait in the water. Doesn't matter if it's fake bait, doesn't matter if it's real bait, live bait, whatever kind of bait you want. It doesn't matter. But if you are not putting your fishing line in the water, there's not a chance that you're going to catch fish. People all the time, I hear them, I don't see them because they don't come around me because I am putting my fishing pole in the water. But they're like, I can't recruit. It's really hard to find people that want to do this business. Can't convince anybody. We're not convincing people. all you're doing is opening a door of opportunity for people. It's a very simple thing. It's just seeing somebody that you've known forever or somebody that you just met and just get to know them as a person. Just show the opportunity, because you never know whose life it's going to change. And it's probably going to change yours if you continue to do this. So even if you have to be selfish about it, it's going to change your life to invite people into this business. You never know what person you walk by that has just been praying for an opportunity. Something they always say is like, you have to catch the right person on the worst day. And that was exactly what happened for me. It wasn't into this exact agency, but somebody caught me on a really bad day. I was willing to risk it all because they caught me on a bad day. And now look at where it's gotten me. I've been able to invite so many people into this business because I realized that if it weren't for them being courageous to at least talk to me about the opportunity, I would not be here. So it's very simple for me to just say, get your line in the water. A lot of people are like, well, I don't know what bait to use. Well, I don't know how to start the conversation. Well, how do I talk about the opportunity? Talk about the things you like. It's like when you edify somebody, don't lie. Right. If you like one thing about somebody, highlight that until you're blue in the face, because that's the truth and it will come across as genuine. If you like the community here, highlight the community here. If you like dialing, not sure who you are, but someone's out there that likes dialing, highlight how fun it is to dial. If you got a big paycheck and it's your first time ever getting a big paycheck, highlight that. People are watching you, whether you like it or not. They're watching your social media. They're watching the way you walk into a room. They're watching what you drive, all of these things, right? So if you can just start a conversation off of any one little thing that starts, anything. Someone's walking their dog. Hey, your dog looks really cute, you know, Just start the conversation. 3-foot rule. They're giving us the cheat codes. Just cheat. It's simple.
Right. Yeah, and I also think like it's falling in love with it too, right? It's falling in love with the journey. It's falling in love with fishing. I know we're using fishing because we just got back from a cabin, right? So we're all fishing, paintball, right? Sitting by the fire. But it's falling in love with fishing and just laughing about it. Right? If there's one thing that we all do really well, it's just like trying to laugh about things, because we know that in 15 years, we're all going to be laughing about it. So why not just laugh about it now? Right? I know there's going to be junk when you're fishing, right? You're going to pull up trash. You're going to pull up an old boot. You'll pull up a snake, right? You'll pull up all kinds of sort of things. But imagine if you pull out something amazing, right? It just takes one more person, right? One more fishing line in the water, right? One more person to change your business. But let's take that out of the equation, right? Because it's not about us as leaders, right? It's one more person to change our business. But how about we think about it differently? One more person to change their life. One more person to change their family's life. One more person to change their kiddo's life, right? So just be a blessing, right? That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to get people into this business, right? But if we're not fishing, tell you what, can't be complaining that your business isn't growing if you're not out there fishing, talking to people, right? Going through your phone painstakingly, touching people, 3-foot rule, right? Opening the door to people you used to work with, right? But yeah, again, Maddie, I'm super proud of you. I'm going to wrap back around to you, girl, and kind of wrap it up at the end, just kind of get your mind right with some takeaways and call to action. Okay. But lastly, I get emotional, just like I'm like, I get to introduce my mentor. I'm going to introduce, someone who's very, 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 very special to me. She not only has mentored me directly, but she has helped me, y'all. She has helped me get very uncomfy at many moments in my business, which has always led me to growth. VeRae not only has a thriving marriage, she is a amazing mother to two beautiful girls. She pours her blood, sweat, and tears into this business. A lot of y'all see the VeRae, right? She can be very reserved, right? When I think of VeRae, I think of like a shark, right? She stays in her lane and she just puts numbers on the leaderboard, right? But she has a kind soul. And VeRae's been able to get super vulnerable with me over these last couple of years. And that's something that I just hold so close to my heart. She's never been afraid, her and Jake, they've never been afraid to talk about their struggles in this business. And why? Like, why talk about the negative? No, I'm not saying negative. They aren't afraid to talk about the struggles because they want us to grow, right? If they're not sharing, hey, listen, this is what happened to us at this event. This is what happened during this time. If they're not sharing like their turbulence on their journey, how are we going to grow? Right? The goal here is to learn from our mentors and get there quicker, right? Can I borrow the cliff notes from Jake and VeRae? Because I'm trying to do this quick, right? But I'd like to introduce, and I get to say it, like, right, the newest junior board member, youngest junior board member, Miss VeRae Joseph. I know this wasn't your first time at the leadership cabin. So just being that this was like, you've been here before, VeRae, what were some like lessons or that stood out to you? Well, first introduce yourself, because not everyone, there's some new people on here. So introduce yourself. Don't act like everyone knows you, but introduce yourself and just kind of talk about what are some like new things that stood out to you that was specifically because it was a women's event.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say how grateful and proud of you ladies that I am. I know Sarah talked about getting emotional introducing myself. But when I look at you guys and I look at the girls that we were able to bring to the cabin, it makes me emotional. Just thinking of all the late night conversations we've had, all of the tears that we've shared, all of the wins that we've shared together just as a team. So that makes me emotional. It makes me emotional thinking like, I know the fight that Dani had in her to make it to the cabin, right? I know the fight that Maddie's had opening an office, hiring staff, things like that. I know the fight that Sarah's had when she came into this business with 3 babies, all under, 4 and under. So my name is VeRae Joseph, out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. My husband, Jake, and I are in this business together. Super grateful, hired by a family friend of ours, mentored by Dukes, mentored by Leventovich and Albright. So just forever grateful for all the experiences that we've had and the people that God has placed into our life. Every day I wake up and the first thing, I think I've trained myself, the first thing I start doing is I pray. I say, thank you, God, for giving me another shot at life. I turn and I get to see my husband and I say, thank you, God, my husband is alive. We're healthy. We've got another shot at this day together. And then, the girls, they wake up for school and I say, thank you, God, they've got another shot to go make a difference and just be there and be the people that God wants them to be and the people that they're growing into. So I'm super grateful, again, just for the mentorship. And I can't explain how much joy this brings me just seeing Sarah host this call, because she has grown. Over these Sarah and I, we've known each other for about 10 years now. But the way that she's grown, and Sarah was who she was before we introduced her into this business, right? It's nothing myself did. It's nothing Jake and I can take credit for. It's nothing that any of our uplines can take credit for, because Sarah came into this business being who you guys see on this screen today. But what she has done is she's grown as a person, because she continues to show up. She continues to read books. She continues to invest in herself, and she continues to just ask questions. So again, again, I'm just super proud, and I can't go with this call without mentioning like other awesome ladies that we had on our team at the cabin, like just so proud of Sherry Teal. Sherry Teal is a team player, guys. She gets out there. She's always, she's fired up on every call. She shows people, an example of what it's like to get out there and work every day. Again, Tiffany Nunez, Jake and I, she's literally become like a sister to us. And, sometimes I think that's a good thing. Sometimes I think it's a bad thing because I want to protect her like an older sister, and so, but she's just a strong, young, beautiful woman who's just got the world at her fingertips, and she works so hard. She came to the cabin just on faith and a prayer and hard work, right? Tiffany, she's 21 years old. She lives by herself. She gets up every day and she gets after it. She's never made an excuse. She's never missed an event, even when she's gone on her last dime. And it's just crazy seeing the person that she's bloomed into over this last year, alongside you ladies, of course. And then, somebody that's obviously near and dear to my heart is my mom. It makes me emotional thinking about her. I grew up around strong women. So this cabin to me was just a reminder of, all the wonderful, strong women I was raised around. And, just seeing my mom, I know for those of you that, know a little bit about her, she missed out on a good chunk of her life just with, some trials and tribulations. And so seeing her make connections and friendships and, it brings so much warmth to my heart. So I'm so grateful for you guys. I'm so grateful for just the entire alliance, just for the opportunities. But what I'm most proud of is that every one of you guys have just fought to be here, and you guys get it done. That's what I think that we have, within our team, is we just have doers, and we have people who just truthfully believe in each other. So I'm so proud of you guys.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned like some of the other people that were at the cabin. Like, it's so hard because you're on these calls and you're like, oh, I don't want to miss anything, right? But like, just, Emily Katz, right? We were sitting there and, the TWC was filming, and, we're all here on this couch and we look over and it's Noelle. It's Beth, right? It's Emily, right? And it's a room full of other amazing people, right? Pamela, right? Like Belle Kraut, like all these people, right? So you have the TWC, and then and Andy's so strategic, right? So he has like all these firecracker women that have paved the way up there on Wednesday, right? Like just experience, like seeing Belle Kraus on the battlefield with the paintball, y'all. Like what? Like that girl was on a mission. No wonder she kills it in this business, right? And you look at her and she's like this doll. She's beautiful, right? And it's like she was on a dang mission during paintball, right? She knew exactly what to do. She knew how to execute, right? And on the back end, I said, Belle, how does that work in the real world, right? But it's, I couldn't help but like look across the couch and seeing Beth and Noelle, right? And then Emily right there, and that friendship that they have, right? And how many years they just poured into each other, right? And I can't help but like close my eyes and think like, wow, like we are the next generation, right? Me and Emily were able to connect these last 3 days, and like I couldn't help but think like I'm drawn to her, right? We're drawn to each other. There's nothing wrong with saying that, right? We've always kind of had that internal connection, right? We have a little bit of like introvert in us, but like we want to be extroverts, right? So it's like we are the next generation, right? And I look at those relationships that Belle Kraus have with, Beth Katz and Noelle Loventovich, and I'm like, wow, like they're here and they're trying to teach us all, like, just grow, just go, just trust, right? And how can you not want to have those relationships like they have, right? So, one thing, VeRae, it's like, you see things oftentimes from like you have a different perspective, and I love that we're so open and we're able to like have conversations about business and motherhood and life and all the other things, right? Because I think, like, to be honest, we don't really talk about business as much, right? Because this business is our life, right? But like, VeRae, you were a firecracker out there on the paintball battlefield. What is it called? She was the same, right? The two that stuck out. Well, Caroline, like, what?
Right.
Like, girl, I know you're on here. Like, I'm so grateful for our friendship. Like, there were some people that just stood out to me, right? That I'm like, dang. But talk about, VeRae, like, just the paintball experience and just kind of like strategy, right? Why were we put in that situation?
Yeah, so paintball was so much fun. So Jake and I, we have paintball guns here, and usually, we'll go camping and we have our own little paintball fights, and it's fun. Or we'll just send the girls out. We call it rabbit, and we're like, all right, start running. If you don't want to get hit, you better outrun mom and dad. So we'll just put them in the field. We'll make them run from point A to point B, and Jake and I are just lighting them up, just so much fun. And when they said, hey, we're going to do paintball, like, I got fired up. Like, I love it. I'm a competitive person. I want to win. Like, I'm not going to do something to not win. And so we got there, and, first they said, okay, we need 8 people, 4 and 4, let's get out there. And the thing that I immediately realized, and, after the first round, I was like, all right, this is clicking with me. There was some woman, not going to call out names, they were scared. They're just sitting behind the little shelter thing, thinking that they were going to win by tucking and just trying to shoot and then get back and then trying to shoot. And so the first woman that I noticed, that I was like, okay, I've got somebody to compete with, like, on the field. Not, hey, I'm going to be scared and just take a shot when it's convenient, was Carolyn. She was out there running, and so was I. And I would say probably, I don't know, I know everybody's bruised up, but if you guys saw what I look like I am bruised literally from like head to toe right now. Jake even texted Sarah, what did you do to my wife? But just being on the paintball field just really reminded me of mine and Jake's journey in this business, right? So, I know they say, hey, follow the leaders. It's kind of like that landmine. If they've already stepped somewhere, steps there so you don't get blown up. And at the end of the day, you just got to get out there for yourself, because just like your children, if you try so hard to protect them and, hey, do exactly what I'm doing, and, you're going to be safe if you just stay behind me. You're going to be safe if you just stay behind me. They're never going to learn for themselves. So when I was on that paintball field, like somebody has like a TikTok, I don't even know, but like I was running and I got blasted, like, to be clear. I got blasted with the paintball. So I got out, but it just reminded me, like, you're not going to win this game by staying hidden behind your upline. You're not going to win this game by staying behind your mentor. Yes, you can follow your mentor, but you're not going to win if all you do is stay right behind them and you're tucked in their shadow and say, hey, let them take the blows for me, right? We have to get out there. We have to follow our mentor. We have to be able to, learn from our mentors. You don't want to go make mistakes that they've already done. So that's where asking questions. But until you get out there and start running, you're going to get hit with your own bullets. In this case, it was paintballs. You're going to get hit with your own bullets, but that's the way that you're going to get back up and learn every time. So when I think of a lot of these women on our team, and, the men included, but specifically the women, since we're talking about the leadership event that we just went to, the people that are winning at a high level, yes, they're following closely, but they're getting out there and they're getting their own bullet shot at them, right? And they get back up and they keep going. The paintballing was so much fun. And literally after that first round, I was like, all right, because guess what? I don't want to say we won every round. I think, we lost 1 or 2, but majority of the rounds we won. And it's because we had people out there just running to get to the nearest, I don't know what they call it. They had like crates out there, like the pallets, running to get there, taking a second, breathing, regathering, getting back out there, taking a second, breathing, getting back out there, and being willing to get shot, being willing to get out, but the goal is capture the flag. The goal is not stay safe and protect your flag. You don't win unless you capture the flag. So having to get out there, having to just be your own person and not being scared. And yes, it's just like our parents, right? You've done a good job as a parent if your kids grow up and leave the house, right? If you've got that 30-year-old son in the basement, you probably went wrong somewhere because you just wanted to protect them and you wanted to shelter them and just stay behind me. Mom's going to protect you. So I think of that message just with my kids. It's okay. I know I've done a good job if I've let them take some bullets for themselves, because I can't sit here and protect them. I can guide them, I can love them, and I can show them the direction to go. But at the end, they're going to have to, make those shots and call those shots for themselves. And that's what I've seen all of you ladies do.
Right. I love that you said that. I love that you said that. The truth here, Miss VeRae Joseph, is you're right? It's not, what happens at the cabin stays at the cabin, right?
Yeah, there's some things.
Certain things.
There's some
right?
things. I saw a side of some woman that I said, "Oh, I like this," but I ain't gonna say it.
Right. But the truth is, it's like it's staying close, right? I love what VeRae said. It's staying close, right? It's staying, those fire pits, man, how cool, right? Just like everywhere you see these little pits, right? It's staying close to the fire, right? It's staying close to those that are doing it, but you're 100% correct. How are we able to cultivate our own relationships and get our own bruises if we're not willing to get out there, right? And make a mess, right, Maddie? And get our own bruises, but learn from those, from those situations. I just kind of want to wrap back around, right? I'm going to let my beaver analytical side come out of it, because, we just came out of a 3-day event, and, obviously our brains, like all of us, right? We couldn't help but be like, oh man, this is just, I have so much going through this mind. I just want to go. I would just want to go. I need to get home. I need to go implement. I want to go, right? I couldn't help but think that on the plane ride home. When does this plane land? When does this plane, like itching to get back home, right? But I just kind of want to close us up by, talking about what are some of our seeds that we're going to plant? What are some of our call to action items that we're going to, implement, which we should have been yesterday, right? I know all y'all were implementing yesterday, but what are some of your okay, ready, fire, aim? So Dani, let's wrap back around to you, girl.
Something that I realized is, Andy was talking about how betting on the wrong person is expensive. Emotion is expensive. Emotion is expensive. So my call to action for me is looking at everything from a more logical standpoint and taking emotion completely out of it. I should have had an assistant. An assistant will definitely be in the works. And being more direct, like you said, being more direct with my people and showing them where we're going. Letting them dream, helping them dream, build, and work backwards, showing them that it's okay to dream and that we know the steps, somebody has paved the way, and being a good steward in their dream. Leading, but copying first, so I know how to lead is my call to action.
There you go. Miss Maddie, what's on your mind, girl?
So many things. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. My biggest call to action is actually writing down your goals and looking at them every day. I think about my goals. I'll write them down every once in a while, but I don't really think about them again until I'm at the point where I should have achieved it. And for some reason, I wonder why I haven't achieved it. So just continuously writing down your goals and thinking about it and reading it over and over and over and over. That's my biggest takeaway. So my seeds that I'm planting for myself is all of the goals I have for myself. I can write a plan on how to execute it. I can follow through. I can keep that promise to myself. But if I don't think about the goal, I'm not going to follow through. So for me, that's the biggest thing that's on my mind, is continuing to think about my goals every day so that I can follow through.
Y'all, I don't even know if y'all know or not, but like, so one of our activities is Noelle. She blessed us with, she surprised, I mean, there were so many surprises that, you all will probably see, right? But she came with this big bag of like a book for all of us, right? And the Goals book by Brian Tracy. And with that came a worksheet, and we were so fired up out of our mind that we couldn't wait to get home. We couldn't wait to get home, right? We were all working backwards there. So like Maddie, I know Maddie and Dani specifically stayed, they didn't go to sleep. They didn't go to sleep last night. They stayed up, and that's something that's taught, right? They stayed up because things happen at those late night hours, but they stayed up to do their goals together. And they didn't just stay up to do their goals together. They stayed up and did their goals. And then me and Dani are on the plane, and we're going through them. And then we're going through the goals, and we're like, okay, great. These are goals. How are we working backwards? Okay, great. These are goals. Now, what do we need to do to get there? It's exciting. You wrote it down, but what are we going to do to execute, right? So yeah, I think you're right, Maddie. You're right on point, girl. All right, Miss VeRae, what are some takeaways? What are some good little seeds? I know you would call to action, girl.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a call to action for me, is just really letting myself be who I am. I think so many people don't really truthfully know who I am other than the people closest to me. And I was with you, Sarah, while there was training going on. I was watching the birds outside, right? I had the training in my ear, and I was just watching the bird be themselves. So for me, I said, you know what? I'm not here. I'm not put on this earth to please anybody. I'm not put on this earth to, be a kiss ass. Our pastor says it like this, like, I know who I am and I know whose I am. I'm not here to worship anybody, any false idols. I'm not here to make people, to try to get people to think one thing of me if I'm really not that person. So I think what I want to come back with, and what I have come back with from this cabin event, is I can really just be myself and build this business. And that's what's going to, continue to grow the business. Just be genuine, like Jeff Bright. I think God placed Jeff Bright in my life for a reason. I know everybody loves Jeff Bright, but there's a reason. You talked about that a little bit earlier. So just continue to be genuine and continue to grow. Jake and I know we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do to hit the goals that we want to hit. So it's time to go after it. It's time to recruit like our life depends on it. It's time to continue to be a river, not a dam, and just keep growing myself, keep reading books, keep working on myself, because if I'm not growing, I can't help people grow. So that's what I'm fired up about.
I love it. I love that you're able to share that too. I know that takes a lot from you, Ray. That's kind of why I started this call with that, right? A lot of people in this business that see VeRae a certain way, right? Even people on our call, they're like, she's a lion, right? She's crazy, she's intense, right? And a lot of y'all don't know that VeRae has a lot of golden tendencies in her as well. Like she has the feelings, right? And yeah, it is your business, and you're going to grow this thing massive. And every single one of us is going to grow this thing massive. Every single one of us. I know this is something that this is one thing that I know all of us picked up, is Robbie Kraft, when he got up there and he was talking about, you're going to have to hear it from him, but he was talking about building an effing cathedral. And how is your team going to know that you're building a cathedral if you're not telling them that you're building a cathedral? Right? We're all building, for myself and my team, we are building a cathedral. Now, Maddie, what do you want to build inside the cathedral? You want it to be the fireplace, with the amazing chimney? Do you want it to be the casita on the side where we have all of our friends hang out? Dani, do you want to, what part of the cathedral do you want to build, Dani? right? Room 1, room 2, room 3. Like, what part of the cathedral do you want to build, VeRae? Like, we are all a part of something bigger. And if we are not sharing that vision with our team, it's just another app. It's just another number. It's just another estate plan, right? It's just another recruit. But if we're on a mission and our team knows what we're doing and where we're headed, they're a part of something, right? I know that this weekend was a confirmation for myself that I'm building something that's generational. I'm building something that it's going to require, and it does require, daily discipline, right? It requires faith in a higher power. Andy talked about that. He's not scared to talk about it, right? Faith in something, right? And ultimately, it's going to require excellence and being kind and loving. That's it. But I'm so incredibly blessed to be on this call on Friday with y'all. Like, you have no idea how much each and one of you, every one of you mean to me. I love you guys incredibly and immensely. And let's go kick some. I blurted myself. Did I do that correctly? All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to end with this. If y'all want to meet any of these people, we have an amazing event coming up here in a couple weeks. Get your mind right. Don't even think about it. Like, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, everyone right now that's watching, can you pull up your calendar real quick, before we end the show? Real quick. Don't even ask. October 16th, 17th. They'll just do 17, 18, 19th. Pull up your calendar and just say, Sarah Seifert event. Connect with my mentor. That's it. I'm not going to go into it. After this call, go call your mentor if you don't know what I'm talking about. Get to know someone before you need to know someone. So I'm excited to see y'all again in a couple weeks. Bye, y'all. Love ya.